can definitely say is that they'll be upgrading their goalkeeping department. And not only is David Raya, in my opinion, a better goalkeeper, a better number two than Matt Turner, I think what he brings is all the attributes that Mikel Arteta is looking for in a goalkeeper to implement his style of play. He's very, very comfortable with the ball at his feet, David Raya. And ultimately, when you look at it simply, the goalkeeping department is better for this signing if Arsenal get this over the line, which I'm sure they will.
Do you
I
know,
think,
Harry, I speak to Ray Parlour obviously a lot, and Ray really rates Ramsdale, but I think you might have just knocked it right in the head there about Raya, how good he is with his feet. Now, is this Mikel learning off Pep again?
Possibly. It's something that Mikel is big on. It's something that's really, really important in the way that Arsenal build out from the back. David Raya last season, if you look at his statistics for kind of long passes completed, they were incredible. Now, I know that stat can be a bit misleading at times because the pass is only completed if the player on the other end of it is able to bring the ball down. And when you're pinging balls up to Ivan Toney, more often than not, he is going to win those duels and bring the ball down. So maybe that statistic is a bit misleading. But I have to say, I've been a little bit frustrated by the narrative around this over the last sort of few days when this has been sort of being discussed. Normally, when we're talking about building a squad and we're talking about, Arsenal and where they fell short last season, we're talking about a lack of strength in depth. We're talking about a lack of competition for certain positions. This is Arsenal addressing that. This is Arsenal going out there and upgrading a very important department of their team. This is Arsenal adding depth. This is Arsenal adding competition. And Aaron Ramsdale, I agree with David Symeou, will thrive from this competition. And so depth and sort of strength in depth seems to be top of the agenda for everyone. Unless it's Arsenal, then we've all got to complain about it and say what a silly move this is. It's driving me crazy.
I agree on that note, but for my career and being at Aston Villa, it's very rare you have, at most clubs, you have two top goalkeepers. So does this mean when Ramsdale will start the season, obviously for Arsenal, if he has one mistake, is it like, all right, you come out, Raya in? Is it that approach? You're not going to drop one for the Champions League because Ramsdale want to play Champions League as well, not playing that competition. That's all I think people are coming from that way of like, oh, okay, you got two top keepers to keep happy.
Well, I think there's plenty of games. Arsenal are expected next season to compete on four fronts. In the last couple of seasons, the cup competitions, you could argue, have gone by the wayside, and you could argue that they've been bottom of Mikel Arteta's priority list. Now you've got Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Plus, Remember, next season, the Champions League will have even more games because of the new format. So I think there's plenty of time for both of these keepers to play. And the interesting, the thing is here is that Mikel Arteta would have certainly had this conversation with both Aaron Ramsdale ahead of David Raya's signing and with David Raya. So they both know what they're walking into.
Yeah.
And they both know that they're going to be competing for that spot. I don't think this is a case of, Arsenal signing David Raya, promising him he's going to be number one, and 2-3 months down the line, if he's not in the side, he's going to be throwing his toys out of the pram. He knows that he's coming in to compete, and Ramsdale knows that someone is going to come in and be breathing down his neck. I think it raises the standards, and
of course,
it's a great bit of business.
Yep.
So, Harry, I was just saying, I thought the Community Shield was really good. I thought City started well, and Arsenal got a good grip in the game. I don't think there's going to be a lot between them this season.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Community Shield gave Arsenal fans quite a bit of encouragement because, to be honest, up until that point in pre-season, I think the team looked a little bit imbalanced. And I know it wasn't always the side that we expect to start in the Premier League that Mikel Arteta was picking. And, there's players at different varying fitness levels as you go through the summer and all the rest of it. But that was a really, really balanced Arsenal team. Declan Rice and Partey in the midfield together, I think, looked really good and solid. And that gave us the platform to go out and play. We know how good Saka can be. We know that Martinelli is excellent. Leandro Trossard's waiting in the wings as well. I mean, Jurrien Timber came in and played at left back, a position he's not familiar with, but he did such an excellent job. You just look at this Arsenal side now, and it kind of circles back to the goalkeeping point again. You feel like there is competition for places. You feel like there is different options. And yes, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for Mikel Arteta because he hasn't been in this position as a manager before where he needs to rotate effectively. But now he has a group of players that he can trust.
Harry, now you need to go and perform as well. Spending
Absolutely.
the amount of money Arsenal have had, you're going to get a lot of people really looking at Arsenal now and saying, okay, then go and win the league, go and get to the knockout stage of the Champions League, go and win the FA Cup, and the pressure's on now, isn't it, for Arsenal?
Yeah, 100%. 100% the pressure is on. Last season was a bit of a free hit in a lot of ways. You know, the target at the start of the campaign was to get back into the Champions League. Arsenal, overachieved in terms of how they competed with Manchester City. I think we can all agree on that. But you're right. When you spend this type of money again and you bring the level of players in that they have, the pressure's there. But listen, if you want to win the big trophies and you want to be up there and you want to be dining at the top table, you've got to learn to live with that. And I think at least now the pressure's there, but Arsenal do have the tools, I think.
It's going to be great.
To be able to navigate it.
Harry, thank you.
Thank you
you're very
much,
welcome
Harry.
Coming on. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So Harry Symeou there from the Arsenal podcast. I enjoyed the game. I did. I hated the extra time they played, and
you know what
I know
what I like the most in the Arsenal team at the moment? Saliba. He's rock. See when Haaland...
Well, they missed him, didn't they?
Yeah, see when Haaland got the ball, I think it was first half, and he got the ball and he didn't want to knock it past Saliba, so he'd come back away from goal. You know, people don't want to take Saliba on, and if he can stay fit the whole season, he's going to have a much better chance.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.